Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night. You listen to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM New Orleans. And we got Wham here with us representing the Hudson Valley.
Hey.
We got the return of Wild Trees. He's like in the prequel series now. We done moved to the prequel series. We done got past the trilogy. We're like at 6 or something. But you're in Micah Hanks territory now. He hasn't been on a long ass time, but he was up in that territory at one point. I think Nick Redfern's the most I've ever interviewed someone. Like written and read.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for about 10 times.
I quote him a lot. I read his books a lot. He's a really interesting guy.
Not to bring this up, but I will. If you hear what's going on with him, medical stuff, he's got dementia. So I don't know exactly it's not. Someone that's a publisher told me about it. And because I wrote him and he was acting kind of strange in email. I don't want to get into it too heavily. I don't want to say anything bad about anything like that, but he does. And I don't even know if he's writing books and doing shows or what, but it sounds sad, like a sad story.
That's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, like emails are actually, because I remember when I was in college, I was having a conversation with this other insect researcher. And I could just tell that he told me, but I could tell his health was, going down based on his emails. And then unfortunately he died shortly thereafter. But yeah, I guess it's hard to write a good email when you're very, very sick.
Yeah, it was strange, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like, does Nick hate me now? But no, it wasn't that. It was something else. But I was writing about a werewolf book that the publisher even sent me to him for, and but hopefully it gets better. I know that's kind of what is the Bruce Willis thing? That's sad too. Like
it's called aphasia, I think.
Is it kind of like dementia or something like that?
Yeah, he's got it's frontal lobe something.
Oh.
It's a certain type of dementia that he has. It's there are different kinds, and they affect different parts of the brain, but eventually the whole brain is going to be affected by it.
Gosh, depressing. Let's move on to something else. My God. So what's been up with these nocturnal journeys? Still doing those?
Yeah, I'm still doing it. I'm doing one tomorrow, actually. So I expanded where I'm doing these. So they're like little events. I do little insect events for the public where we learn about insects and we catch some and we identify them. And yeah, now I started doing them in Austin, Texas. There's a really great state park called McKinney Falls. So there's these 2 waterfalls there, and it's a really cool area. I forget how old the area is. I think it's like 2 million years old, 2 million year old limestone environments. And that's where the waterfalls are. So I do my event right in front of the waterfall. And yeah, a lot of indigenous people used to live there as well. Like the limestone rocks makes like natural forming kind of caves. And so that area has a lot of history. It's funny. I've been doing that event for like 2 months now, but it's funny because like I haven't explored the park itself really. So like I went there once and I just walked around. I was like, this is cool. I want to start doing something here. So then I just emailed the person in charge and we set it up. But my events are nocturnal. So I usually just end up leaving my house, which is like an hour and a half away. And I get there like kind of right before the event and I do the events. Then I go get some roast chicken in a little food truck right outside there. It's really good. But I never actually explored the park. So I'm going to my sister tomorrow and we're going to leave early. So we're not going to get there right before the events. So we're hopefully going to explore the city, explore the park some more. It's a huge park, and then do my event. But yeah, it's a lot of people show up. It's really cool. And it's a really cool form of teaching because I've also been substitute teaching like high school and middle school. And, there's all kinds of teaching environments, but I like teaching at these events because it kind of filters out a lot of people because like, these events are advertised on websites and whatever, but like if you show up to this event, like you want to be there, like you read about it and you're pumped to learn about insects. So as a teacher, it's great. It's like, oh, wow, this audience wants to be here and I could definitely give them a good time. Whereas other environments like I said, a high school or middle school, I don't think any of those kids want to be there at all. It's the last place they want to be. So you have a much harder time enjoying yourself as a instructor or teacher. But yeah, those events are really fun. And yeah, I just applied for a job actually in that industry, and it was very competitive. They told me, they said like, I think 65 people applied or interviewed for the job, and it was between me and someone else. And so I did my interview and I had to do a presentation. I chose to do it on the Tonkawa Indians. So Tonkawa Indians are the native people here of Central Texas.
Yeah.
So they lived here, and they were really cool people. I left out some of the more unsavory aspects about their culture, but they were cannibals. They did cannibalize their enemies. They fought a lot with the Comanche,
So they don't do
and
that
Apache.
anymore. They don't do that anymore.
I don't think so. They probably don't do that anymore. I'm not an expert.
It's cool. I was playing the latest Oregon Trail video game,
Okay.
and it's on consoles and stuff. But the natives, apparently, American Indians, help with that to, I guess, clean it up a little, make it a little more wholesome. Like it says at the beginning that they help. I don't know if the older ones were violent or something. I don't remember. I don't even remember natives in the older ones, but I guess they were. But they made it more truthful. It was pretty fun.
So the new one is more violent, or the old one was more violent?
I'm guessing the old ones maybe were against Indians some, if they're stepping in and upgrading it, or what. So it's not, try to be. I mean, I don't really know, but the new game, it's fun. It's fun. It's simple. I like it.
What was interesting learning about these Indians is that, like, Central Texas, it's never been like well, maybe if you go millions of years back, but in modern times, it's never been an easy place to live. Like, we don't have like huge forests and an overabundance. So you see that even now. So right now I'm in the woods right here in my cabin. But even so, when the Indians lived there, the Tonkawa, yeah, it was a hard time for them. Like, they were constantly, like, I guess you would call it browsers, so they were nomadic. So they would always have, almost every day they would move their home and look for food. And they were apparently like really good at sustaining hunger. So they would go through long periods of fasting. I don't think it was by choice. I think it was just hard life out here. And so they did this thing, which I had to learn about, which they would tighten up their belts. They would have these belts and they would tighten up really, really tight. And apparently that helps with the hunger pain. So that would help them. I was like, oh, maybe it's a new diet, lose weight the Tonkawa way, just these huge belts or something. But they loved eating.
What state is that again? What state are you in again?
I'm in Texas, and so this is Central Texas. Yeah, these Indians were like in a small area in Central Texas, which is like Austin kind of area. Yeah.
Anything weird coming up in that place that's 2 million years old? Like anything spooky or just weird?
No, it's a good question. I need to look into it more to see. Like I said, there's a lot of history there, like human history and natural history. So a lot of people lived in that area. Like the Tonkawa, for instance, lived there because they made these like little, teepees, traditional teepees, but then they just made these little vegetation huts. They would move every day. But then they did love living in caves as well. They were just very scrappy people, very resilient people. Now, unfortunately, they have reservations in Oklahoma. So, you don't really see them in Central Texas anymore.
Say who they ate, like other tribes.
Yeah. They from their recorded history, from not from their own recorded history, but from other people who recorded their history, they were always at war with the Comanche and the Apache, which were bordering their territory. But they often switched alliances. So sometimes they were friendly with one, and then they would war with the other, and then they would switch, and then. But yeah, apparently when they would beat their enemies, they would eat them. And then I did research for the presentation. Someone else said some other explorer said they were the filthiest of the Native Americans. So I'm not sure how biased that information is. Maybe these explorers thought everybody was filthy that wasn't European. But I can see why, I guess, if they were going to be. I mean, like I said, it was a hard life living out here. Yeah, it wasn't like, there's some areas.
You got to do it. You got to do it. I mean, it's not a friendly thing to think about, but you got to do it. You got to do it. You're going to have to make some peanut butter and jelly human sandwiches, and you're just going to have to, grin and bear it. There was some crazy airplane movie. It was one of the newer ones where they crashed. That was a true story on Netflix, and they had to do that. It's always, God. There's been a few movies like that, those true stories. I forget the name of the newest one that's on Netflix, but it's pretty crazy. And so, what's up with the animals and bugs? Are they doing anything weird in this Trumpel Gooch apocalypse? Anything acting out of the ordinary?
I mean, people keep saying the numbers are low, so apparently they're just declining a lot. That's probably very. I mean, it's probably true everywhere, but yeah, it's probably also really regional as well. Maybe closer to cities and stuff. One cool thing is like, so I had to do a second interview, so I did that like a few days ago because it got very competitive. So it's me and another person. So I had to do another presentation. So I was like, okay. So I started collecting insects for my presentation, and right outside this door, I was like, well, let's see what shows up at night. And I got some pretty cool insects actually. I got this one beetle called the Texas Longhorn beetle. It has really, really long antenna, huge antenna, and it's actually very good to handle. Like I got to play with him, and he doesn't fly off. He's not skittish, so I got to show him off. And then the other one, which is like a showstopper, so there was all these moths flying around. So I just caught a few of them, and then I was like, what are they? So they're called bird poop moths. So they've evolved to look just like bird poop, basically.
Wow.
And yeah, it's funny because like you see bird poop, it's like white and it's got some dark spots on your car or wherever. So yeah, there's this whole group of moths that their wings and it's like a tie-dye t-shirt. They're not all exactly the same. Everyone's different, but they all look like bird poop. So I brought that out during my presentation, and that seemed to be a showstopper. There were like 6 supervisors there, and they seemed to all enjoy the bird poop moth. So thank you, bird poop. Thank you, evolution, for that trick.
What if there's a different hybrid of Mothman that's a bird poop moth?
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, this guy looks
That's
like
the thing I was just thinking about. Like,
he flew off and it just looked like a shit.
it could be a different kind. It could be the enemy of Mothman, bird poop moth. Mothman's a superhero against bird poop moth. But we don't want to upset any Mothman tonight, so let's just shut up about that. But God, so what's up with the bees? Is it really that horrible? And like in America, like is it supposed to be like things I keep seeing are like apocalyptic, like we're about to not have any bees and die?
I don't know. I haven't kept up with that research. I mean,
the honeybee that they're talking about. I mean,
I'm not sure either. Yeah, I mean, the honeybees are actually European, so they're not American. They're an invasive species, I guess. I don't know if you would call them invasive. They're not American. They do good stuff, but invasive usually is seen as a bad thing. That's an animal that comes from another country or region and usually outcompetes normal animals. But yeah, the honeybee, like I said, they're from Europe. They're not from here. But I'm not sure if we view them as a pest. But yeah, there's a lot of research coming out that it's very shocking research about insect diversity collapsing. Of course, if that happens, then there's going to be a cascading effect or a domino effect, and it's going to definitely not be good for us. And it was funny too. So I was thinking about geological periods and mass extinctions. So right now we're living in a period called the Cenozoic. We are in the Cenozoic, but the Cenozoic goes back about 66 million years ago. That's when it started. So that's and Cenozoic. It's a Greek word, like a lot of these terms, and it means a new life. So after the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs, or all the dinosaurs that weren't birds, then the Cenozoic started, which we are in now, which is about 66 million years old. And I was like, well, I don't know. That's a pretty good period. 66 million years is a pretty long period for it's a long period for a geological era. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're at the end of the Cenozoic, meaning that some other mass extinction happens pretty soon. And then there's a new era that's born from that one. Because, yeah, 66 million years is a pretty good run. It's not the best. We've had longer. But, yeah, I would...
Isn't there stuff in, like, India culture and stuff, like Kali Yugas or something that's like that? Like, it's like things that end. I don't remember. I know there's something like that, but I forget what they call them. Like, they talk about different beings that were on the earth, and then like there was an extinction period and reborn. Like, there's something with the India belief system with that.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, there have been several mass extinctions, and I could almost say with almost 100% certainty we're going to have another mass extinction just because they keep happening. It seems to be like a natural. It's like me saying there's going to be another mass extinction where almost everything dies. It's kind of me like it's like me predicting the sun's going to go down tonight, or there's going to be a winter. It just seems it's not as often, but it does happen a lot. And
Well, it seems like it's happening, already on a lot of different levels.
and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's all about perspective. It's like, yeah, it's a bad thing for the animals that were alive then. Yeah, of course, they're going to die. But, I mean, if you look at the perspective differently, you look at the planet. Let's just imagine the planet is alive, which a lot of people do think. I think that's the Gaia hypothesis. So let's imagine the planet is a living thing, the whole globe. It's not that bad a thing because, yes, everything dies out, but then it comes back all over again. So it's not like it's not an end. It's a new beginning. So, like I said, it is bad. It's hard for a human to look past it and accept that it's a good thing, mass extinctions, especially if you and all your loved ones were to die. But for the planet, it's not a bad. It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing.
How long has it been since there's been one? It's been a while, isn't it? I mean, like a big one.
Yeah, I think it was 65 million years ago. That was a dinosaur extinction.
We're long overdue. I saw that Tom Hanks, The Americas. It's on Peacock. It was really good. It's a nature thing, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's narrated by Tom Hanks, and he was just touring, different places in America and all the different animals, and it was really good. It wasn't as violent as some of the other ones, because later I watched some National Geographic Park one about the national park, and it was like just so violent. You're like, my God. I was like, just alligators eating birds and craziness, just pure bloodshed. But I like both. But the Tom Hanks one was good. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. Tom Hanks narrating the Americas. But that's what I was going to ask. Do you watch a lot of the animal stuff in nature? One of my favorites is Microcosmos, that French film with all the insects. I could watch that a billion times. But is there stuff like that you go to and you enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, something I want to get into is microscope photographs, or microphotography. Yeah, so one thing, I do have a nice camera, I forget what they're called, DLS cameras or something like that. But the nice actual, not a phone camera, but a nice camera. And then you could buy different macro lenses for it. But then there's this other thing you could buy, which is called, I think it's just called an extension tube. So it's basically just like a ring of plastic that separates the glass part from the receiver of the lens, and that works as a pretty good cheap magnifier for your camera. So I want to start doing some more photography like that. And then there's some really good microscopes now that you could buy for like $100, and they have a little screen on them, so you could see the live view, and then you could even hook them up to HDMI, so you could put them up on like a big screen TV. And yeah, I'm interested in those just for like public education purposes. But as far as the microcosmos stuff, I think it's really cool because I mean, I've seen it myself. Like I could go out with a net, just an insect net during this time of year, and I could just start swiping. See, the thing is, you don't even have to you don't even have to see a physical insect. You just see some grass or some, if you look at some grass or some weeds or something, and you're like, it looks like I could run my net through there without it getting caught on any, bristles or anything or twigs. If you just do that, you'll catch insects. And to me, it's crazy because I feel like I could probably keep doing that every day, and I'll keep finding new species of insects. I mean, by new species, I don't mean like they've never been found. I'm just saying they're new to me. Like, oh, wow, because that happens all the time. So there's so many. There's thousands of them. So that's really fun. Yeah. I'd love to, like, if I end up working in this area, I'd love to keep, catch insects and bugs and then document them with the photograph and then keep a track of them and really find out do I ever run out? Like, how long does it take me to run out of new insects? If I do that, let's say I do it once a week, just to be conservative. If once a week I find some new bug, then, how long will it take me to exhaust how many? And of course, some of them are seasonal as well. So I'd have to do it through all the seasons, but I'm guessing there's tens of thousands of different types of insects that live here, which is really crazy. I'm
noticing the glow bugs in Florida still, so that's good. The gold lightning bugs in the trees.
Yeah,
they seem like they're higher up these days, like way up in pine trees, like at the top. I'm like, y'all hanging up up top now because I don't remember, as I was a kid, I don't remember them going that high, but maybe they always did. I don't know, but I'm seeing them.
No, I mean, I think you may be onto something. Well, because yeah, I saw them at Austin as well. But yeah, apparently their numbers are reducing. So those are actually beetles. That's a type of beetle, like a ladybug, because they have a hard covering on their back. They have chewing mouth parts. But yeah, so they're beetles, and some of the reasons why we see less of them, and maybe it describes the behavior you're seeing, is because they're being disrupted by lights. So it's not natural to have all these lights at nighttime. So they actually rely. They make their own lights and their own light signals, and they rely on those for communication and for mating purposes, right? So then all these other lights are messing up those signals, and that's causing the decline as well. All this light pollution is basically not good. So I'm not sure if maybe they're flying higher. If they fly higher, maybe they avoid a lot of the lights and they're able to communicate with each other better.
Yeah, that might be it, probably, because I mean they're way the hell up there. I'm like, whoa, they're way up there, like at the top, hanging out. But and what's the bugs that fly around screwing? I haven't.
Oh yeah, those are a type of.
See those anymore hardly.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're seasonal too, though. You might see them at a certain type of year.
What are those? Love bugs, they call them?
Yeah, they're flies. They're a type of fly, and they're called love bugs. But I don't forget the species name. But yeah, like I've been in Texas, and I've been in an area swimming, like a swimming hole, and they were just everywhere. I remember they were like crawling on you. So I remember I was like taking a break from swimming, and I had my friend, my pen pal, so I was writing her a letter. With a pencil, paper, and there were so many of them. They were like falling off my hand on the paper. They were just everywhere. So many of them, just rubbing in my face. Here I am, a single guy, and they're just having a mass orgy. Just
how do they fly around and bang like that at the same in the air? That's some aerodynamics right there.
Yeah,
they're riding the matrix waves.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know if one of them is predominant or if they're coordinating or what.
Yeah, both backpedaling, but I know Resident Alien started. That's not many good shows as far as so much trash, but only two right now. Duster is pretty good. That's that new J.J. Abrams show on HBO. It's pretty good. And Resident Alien just started. But other than that, in nature shows, those are rare to come by. Like I've been trying to find those, and I guess that Tom Hanks is not that old. I like that because there's some episodes where they go, and Tom Hanks is always in the studio. He doesn't go, and I don't really blame him. But but they show a lot of the filming and stuff and behind the scenes, so that was cool. Like the stuff that goes on, behind the scenes and all that they have to go through to get all those shots and stuff. It's insane. Yeah. The camp out there and stuff, and
yeah, that kind of relates to like photographing paranormal stuff, because everybody always says like, we have so many cameras now. Why don't we have more video evidence of ghosts or UFOs or aliens? But when you see a documentary like that behind the scenes, you see that like it takes a lot of money, time, expertise, and specialized equipment to get good photographs of just regular animals. Nothing paranormal. Just a regular bird, like a little squirrel, a fox. It takes so much time, so much dedication and money. And so imagine something that's much harder to photograph. It's much rarer. It's high in the sky. It's way in the distance. And all you got is like an iPhone. So yeah, I don't think that's a valid excuse. I mean, if these paranormal entities, see, our modern cameras are made for taking selfies and like nice landscape shots. So if a Bigfoot was always coming up to you and just like, selfie length away, then yeah, you should be able to photograph, but that's not what happens. They're usually pretty further away than that.
It's interesting, some of the cameras that can pick up UFO stuff. I mean, the night vision stuff's pretty interesting. I've never had a chance to look through any of that. I've always wanted to, but I know Christo Rupolo from Curse of the Man That Sees UFOs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but yeah, he got some footage during the day of crazy stuff that was, I don't know, somehow it was picking up stuff that you normally wouldn't during the day, and I don't remember. He said more about it on the thing, but I was just talking to him in email. But I know he got some crazy footage that was good, and have you ever messed around with any of the night vision stuff or anything out there with animals or with any of that stuff?
No, but I mean, it's the closest I've gotten to is maybe using specialized tools to see animals is like using an infrared light or like a black light to see scorpions and millipedes. So they have a structure in their exoskeleton that bends light a certain way. So when light hits it, and that's what makes them glow. So it is interesting. There are tools you could use for certain animals to see them spot out. And I do like the idea that some UFOs may just be an undiscovered form of life. Like they're just like they're not aliens. They're not advanced civilizations. They're just like an animal that lives in the sky. Because to me, it's very interesting that the sky doesn't have more life in it, because life doesn't like to waste anything. So even if you go out in the road in the middle of the night, I mean, in the middle of the desert, and you start scraping the pavement with like a little Q-tip and you take it back to the lab, there's probably going to be something living there. So like life just likes to live everywhere. So to me, it's interesting that we have about, I think it's like 60 miles at least of environments before we hit the Kármán line. The Kármán line is where space begins. So from the ground level all the way up, it's about 60 miles, probably 66 or something like that. And it's got everything you need for life. It's got space. It's got water, lots of water in the form of clouds. It's got a lot of energy. Sunlight is stronger there, but yet there's not that much life there. It's like, yeah, there's birds that fly by there every now and then, but I'm talking about like life the way there's life in the ocean. So it's odd to me that there isn't anything taking advantage of that. But if it's true that some or a lot of UFOs are actually living things, then that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them do appear to be living things and some type of entity, maybe, or just some kind of biological something. I know when I was partying with friends once, doing all kinds of dumbness, Wham went to go tend the chickens. It was in the morning, and we were doing all kinds of stupid stuff with drugs and stuff. But I saw aerial life in the sky that appeared to be colored like the sun, like it was almost like it was from the sun, but it was down. It was almost like a weird jellyfish, and we all saw it. We all saw it, and we were all. I don't think we were tripping. We were on something else, but but we all saw it at the same time, and it was just like some kind of aerial life, but in the sky. It's almost like a weird jellyfish.
I don't blame it. But I was going to tell you something that's really upsetting me, and I'm really tired of it. I want to get your opinion. So I'm tired of all these like UFO whistleblowers, just like bombshell. They're always like bombshell news, or in 5 days I'm going to tell you something amazing. I'm just so tired of it. Like, please stop. Like, you can still tell us. Just if you want to tell us this news you have, just tell us. But don't make it out to seem like it's the biggest thing in the world. Only do that. Just do that if you absolutely have like undeniable evidence of alien life or UFOs. I'm talking about you have the UFO, you have undeniable close-up pictures of the head. You could interview one of the aliens. Please, that's the only time you're allowed to do that. I'm just so sick of it. It's like I guess it still works. I don't know, maybe other people are getting sick of it, but like
it's for headlines. It's for clicks.
I just don't like it. I'm like, oh my god, this is infuriating.
I've lost hope in all that ufology and who's who and whatever, blah blah blah, and I don't even look at it anymore. Really,
if we do have mass disclosure, it's probably going to come unexpectedly from an unexpected source. It's not going to be all the people that are trying to give it to you right now. Those guys are probably trying to just string it along and just make a spectacle out of it. But probably, if we do suddenly get UFO disclosure or alien disclosure or Bigfoot disclosure, it's probably going to come from some unexpected source. Some institute or something we didn't even know about has been doing research, and it's going to come at a time where, like, without warning, just bam. But it's not going to be from some guy saying, like, tune in next week with our explosive, exclusive, behind-the-scenes interview with whistleblower Danny Jones Brown Smith.
Trying to get this dog to quit snoring. He snores. All he does is sleep and snore, and he's loud. Even during TV shows, you're like, dude, wake up. It's like, will you quit? If he gets too loud, let me know. I'll have to, like, I don't know.
That's fine.
It's not you. He's just tired. He's always tired, but we love it. We love talking about bugs. You're the only person we can talk to bugs about with bugs.
Yeah.
I think you're the only person we got. The only bug reference.
Yeah.
So, what's the craziest bugs you've seen out there where you're
That's a
doing
good
now?
question. That's a good question. Let me see. There's this one bug that's like an aquatic cricket. There's a type of cricket that's like made for swimming. I wish I could show you a picture, but there's an aquatic cricket that really surprised me. I was like, oh, I never even knew these existed. We have scorpions out here, which are just pretty aggressive looking. They kind of scare me. They're called striped bark scorpions, and apparently they're aggressive and they could jump, and they blend in really well and like they're camouflaged really well into the bark, like trees. So my sister said that one day she was like, "There's a lot of petrified wood here in Central Texas, like fossil wood, because there used to be millions of years ago there used to be a huge forest here, and so now it's like rock. The wood is rock." So she said she was moving a petrified piece of rock, and the scorpion was camouflaged into the fossil rock, even though it was not alive. And she said she lifted it up and it kind of just jumped up and then like landed in her stomach and just really quickly, like twice, just stabbed her with venom and just ran off like a little goblin. And she said it was super painful. I haven't had and I've seen them and I haven't been stung by one. I'm glad. The other day I was in my cat's water bowl. My cat's got this really big water bowl, and there was one huge scorpion just inside it. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, how did it get in there? I was like, because it was inside. So I was like, did it fall from the ceiling? Unlikely. Although the people that live here do say that venomous animals do fall from the ceiling. So like centipedes and scorpions will fall. And the other thing is maybe my cat is smart enough and she picked him up and dropped him in the water bowl, but it was a pretty big scorpion. It's just chilling there in the water bowl. Yeah, I don't want to be stung by one of them or envenomized. It's not going to take you to the hospital, but it's just apparently very painful.
I've gotten into bed and been stung by a scorpion before.
You have? Wow.
And it's not fun. At Silver Lake, when I lived there here in Florida, it was just, I don't know how it got there. No one else was living there at the time but me. So he got up there somehow, was just waiting. I think the earth and its inhabitants are fighting back against humans, the parasites, and they're going to attack us. Oh, I saw a movie that was pretty crazy. It's funny, too. Food of the Gods. It's like in the 70s. H.G. Wells apparently had a book called Food of the Gods, and I didn't really know that. I know about his normal, books everyone knows about just about, but it's called Food of the Gods. And basically there's a 70s movie on Amazon, and it's definitely a fun watch. Some stuff comes out of the earth and it's the food of the gods. Some like country lady calls it that. And all the things start eating it, bugs, mosquito, and they grow and they're huge. And it's fun to watch. The effects are funny. Like it's definitely a fun watch, but they have to fight all these big giant things, rats, mosquitoes, and they're huge. And the effects are actually pretty good for 70s. But that's Food of the Gods. But it's about the earth fighting back, turning against us, which it kind of seems like that if you just go outside now with insects, like they're just like gunning for me, like waiting, trying to get inside my ear and lay a worm in my brain. But Food of the Gods.
Well, if you get a worm in your brain, then you can go you can go run the FDA or something, or Health Human Services, or you could go get a real job.
I can't believe that Cheryl Hines lady is Robert F. Kennedy's wife from Curb Your Enthusiasm. That poor lady, like she seems nice, but that's.
I think it's just. I thought about it. It must be that I can't imagine what's going on in her mind, but it has to be the Kennedy thing. Just the fact that he's a Kennedy. I guess that holds a lot of. That's it. That's all he's got going for him. I think.
Yeah, that's it.
It's his last name.
Yeah, and saw a lot of good Ted Danson stuff lately. I didn't know he was a Capricorn. Like Ted Danson representing Capricorns. The Inside Man, where he's like a detective sort of inside of an old folks home on and I didn't know this. That's on Netflix, a newer show, a comedy. They're like 30 minutes a piece or something. But I didn't realize that the guy that did that did The Good Place. I don't know if you ever saw that, but that's actually really good with Ted Danson. And I forget the blonde hair girl's name. She's always on commercials and has some boyfriend.
Is it a Good Place about like heaven or something?
Yeah.
Like people dying?
Yeah. It's a comedy about the afterlife.
Not the afterlife.
and different. It gets weird, like very complicated, to where you're like, damn, this is getting deep for a little 30-minute comedy thing. But
You
he's
know what would be the worst would be dying and then having to get a job when you're dead. That'd be the worst. I'd be like, oh my god, really?
my mom's husband. Something came up in a dream where he was working at the post office.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. That's probably what hell is.
Yeah. What if you have to get a job? My fear is, what if you just have to stay right where you are and you don't leave?
Yeah, it's your life after death is exactly what your life during life was.
Oh God, it'd be terrifying.
Can I play video games without paying rent? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend that Oregon Trail game. I really liked it. It was nostalgia, and it's on sale right now. I think on Xbox or something. But for like $10 or something, or 15.
There's
But
two good
really-
movies that just came out today. I was going to mention.
Okay. What?
There's 28 Years Later, the zombie movie
Oh, I want to see that.
and then there's a movie. There's a Pixar movie about aliens called Elio. It's about being abducted by aliens, actually. And my friend saw it, and I was like, hey, you saw it. There's this conspiracy that maybe the government is working with Hollywood to make movies that kind of people will watch and they'll feel like more comfortable with the idea of aliens or abductions or just being alone. I was like, and so I told him, you saw the movie. Do you get that? Does that seem plausible based on the tone of the movie? And he said, yeah. And then he told me there was, at the end of the movie, there was a thank you to the U.S. military and the United States Air Force. So weird. I want to watch it just to see, like, yeah, are there what kind of messages are there in this movie? I know for sure that in a movie, the boy gets abducted, and it's not just one alien, but he finds out there's like, literally thousands of different aliens, like an alien federation. They're all different, and some of them are evil and some of them are not. So that's a pretty if that's the way it really works, then that's believable. I think there's probably multiple forms of life out there, not just one. And yeah, some of them are probably going to be bad, but not all of them. I don't think so either. Yeah.
Was watching that Stargate movie again. That was a weird one. Stargate, Kurt Russell and all that. Like, I saw that again recently after a long time. Like, that's just like, looks like it's in underground bunkers for the government or something. Like, it's like the movie's got spook written all over it. Like, did they help with that? I've always heard stories like that, like aliens helping with Star Trek scripts and crazy stuff from Jay and all that stuff. So, I mean, there may be some kind of intervention with that. I know Robert Salas, the guy that had the nuke shut down all the silos and stuff, has a book out and he's still enlisted. I've interviewed him. I mean, they definitely release info through things, I think, somehow, for sure. What else is going on with movies? Like, lately, everything, I'm like just looking through this streaming crap. Like, I hate even looking through it. Like, it's like just, you're looking for something. I did see a funny movie on Amazon that made me laugh. And lately, it takes a lot to make me laugh with a movie or anything, show, like stuff like that. But it's called The End. And it has Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and Sally Field in it. It's on Amazon, and it was hilarious, like funny. Burt Reynolds finds out he's got a blood disease and he's dying, and he wants to kill himself, and he ends up in an insane asylum with Dom DeLuise going nuts, running around in his underwear. But it was really funny. It made me appreciate old comedies like that, because now comedies just suck. Like, I don't even know. Is there a new comedy that's like any good that you've seen? It's
a light comedy. It is funny. It's Wes Anderson's new movie came out called The Phoenician Scheme.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen everything else he's done.
Okay. Well, I liked it because one of the main characters, played by Michael Cera, is an entomologist in the movie. So he's constantly talking about catching insects, and he's hired by Benicio del Toro's character as like a tutor. He's like, Benicio del Toro's like this rich business guy, a corrupt business guy, but he hires people just to teach him. So I like that. But yeah, that was a pretty funny movie.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. I saw Asteroid City. That was good. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I saw another funny movie. But see, these are like not direct comedies, but they make you laugh. So I think it was a few nights ago I went to see the new Final Destination movie, Final Destination Bloodlines. And those
Okay.
movies I don't think they're actually horror movies. They're kind of like comedy movies because, yeah, they're like fun movies. But it was really funny watching people die in those horrible ways. But not in a morbid way. That's the way the movie was made. So yeah, those movies were good and they made me laugh. Actually, one of the last really good movies that was a comedy, came out a few years ago that I recommend a lot, especially if you grew up in the '90s, is called Blackberry, and it's the movie about the formation of the Canadian company BlackBerry, the cell phones.
Yeah,
And
I've heard
yeah,
of it. I've never
you
watched it.
wouldn't, yeah, you wouldn't think it from the title and what I just described, but it was very funny. Like I was laughing out loud constantly, and like I said, there's so many '90s references. Like when I was a kid, they talk about Doom and just like. It's great. Like I want people are getting older now. The people that are making movies. So now for a while it was like '80s movies. So there was a lot of '80s nostalgia because the people making movies were kids when they were in their '80s. But I couldn't really relate to that because I was a toddler in the '80s. So I don't really have that many memories. But my childhood really was in the '90s. So now we're starting to see it, and going forward, we're going to see a lot of media and movies and TV shows that are all about the '90s, because the people that are making those things are older like me, and they're the ones, and they were kids in the '90s. And I guess eventually it'll go to the 2000s, and it'll just keep going forever. But yeah, I'm ready for the '90s stuff. The '80s stuff I really couldn't connect with because it just wasn't my time. It was fun, but yeah, it wasn't really my time.
And there's one thing I needed to plug. Let me do it real quick. It's luckily on topic. It's a Kickstarter of some dudes that are coming on. Area 51 Studios is what it's called, issue 1, and it's a funny comic about aliens. And they're going to come on, I think, September, October. But Ernie Altbacker and was it Josh White? Wait, where's the other dude's name? Of course, I lose it. Altbacker and White. And it's just a funny comic that they have coming out with Area 51 Studios. It's like an alien, a sound stage where there's aliens and stuff like that. And
Nice.
really, we'll talk to them about all kinds of alien stuff and comedy. I like that. I like the comedy interjected with alien stuff. What was the one? There was some TBS show that with aliens that was funny, but they canceled it. I can't remember the name of it, but it was had a lot of aliens in it. One had a head like a ball sack. It was a gray alien. But I forget the name of it. People of the Earth or something like that. But Resident Alien, have you been keeping up with that?
No, you mentioned it. I saw some previews for the new season where like he can't turn back into an alien. He just looks like the human. Is that true?
He's having trouble with a mantis alien that's evil, that's taken his body and is being him, and he's actually eating heads in the town. And that's Alan Tudyk, and it's actually really funny and good. It's great, and it's based on a Dark Horse comic. I have all the comics, but Alan Tudyk is one of the funniest actors probably around, and he's really good. Yeah. But it gets crazy. Some natives in there too. And a lot of different creatures, grays, reptilians, mantis aliens, and it's definitely probably the best thing that's out at all right now besides Duster's kind of like a 70s show that's about the car. It's got that dude, I believe it's the dude from Sawyer from Lost is the main guy. It looks like him. He's just gotten older. He looks like he should play Frankenstein now. But yeah, looking forward to the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein whenever that comes out.
Well, actually, speaking of UFOs, I had some questions for Wham. I wanted to ask about Hudson Valley UFOs, if you'd entertain me.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm not overly familiar with the topic, but just in general, I'm curious. Like, is that area still having modern time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's stuff going on here literally all the time. It's not like every day people are seeing UFOs, but like every week there's something happening, because it's not just UFOs. It's UFOs, it's Bigfoot sightings, it's little people stuff, it's ghosts. I mean, there's just tons of haunted places. It kind of seems to go in kind of phases, you know what I mean? So the last that I've heard, and I haven't been able to actually talk to him at length, is the guy that provided me with most of the information for my chapter on Pine Bush, New York, which is about, I'd say it's about 35 miles to the southwest of where I live. And that was a place that was known that had like two large flaps, or two large sort of periods of lots of activity in the late 80s, and then in the late 90s to early 2000s. And the guy that I worked with, he was kind of one of the principal witnesses for both of those, especially the second one, but he was present for both of those, flaps or clusters of sightings. And he doesn't actually live in Pine Bush. He lives in New Jersey. So he would have to drive, to, like, there was a period of his life where he drove like every single weekend, pretty much, to hang out and watch stuff that happened. And he sort of also became the kind of the unofficial archivist of a lot of the witnesses. So he has a lot of just information sort of at his disposal. But he recently sent me an email. I think the email is about maybe 3 weeks old, in which he told me that there has been an uptick of activity in Pine Bush again. And so he had some new reports that, in the email, he didn't go into it, but he said, we need to talk. So at some point here, hopefully in July, is when I'm going to take some time off of work in July, because I want to I need to do some other things. I have to go to the doctor for some stuff, and I just need to have some time off of work. Yeah. So I was planning on hopefully connecting with him, and we're hoping to actually do a session, an overnight session at the gym where I go. I go to a gym, a private gym that's haunted, and stuff happens there frequently, several times a month. Stuff happens there, and we've been wanting to do an overnight there for a while. So, at some point, sometime in July, I'd like to get that together to do that. Partly, just because the gym seems to be quieter in terms of people, beings, because a lot of people are on vacation, and also because, frankly, way up here, the nights are significantly shorter in the summertime. You're down in Texas, but up here in New York, and this is north of the city, during the summer, like from June and July, the nights are barely 6.5 hours long.
Wow.
So it's not like an overnight is going to be lots of darkness. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It doesn't really get dark here. Let's see, what time is it? It's a little after 9 here. Yeah, it's still light outside. It's getting dark, but it's. Dang. So yeah, it can be, and it starts getting light at like 4:15, 4:30, something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, there's stuff that's happening here all the time. I haven't talked to the Bigfoot person that the Bigfoot researcher in the last month, but I spent some time with her a couple months ago, and she had some new reports that she was talking about. And tomorrow I'm going up to Kinderhook, and Jeffrey will remember this. I'm going up to Kinderhook. Do you remember Bruce Hallenbeck? We've had him on the show twice, but it's been a while. But his family is the focus around the Kinderhook creature. He was the guy that had the house where his grandmother lived that was the focus of all of this bizarre stuff that happened, including like ongoing Bigfoot-like sightings of some type. But it also involved ghost stuff, poltergeist stuff in the house, as well as various UFO sightings and sightings of other weird stuff, like little tiny people that would be seen going in and out of the woods, like little people, that kind of stuff. But if you remember Seth Breedlove, he got Bruce a couple years ago to actually write a book of his experiences called The Kinderhook Creature. And so Small Town Monsters is starting filming. They're going to do a film of The Kinderhook Creature, and they're starting shooting tomorrow. So Bruce wanted me to go up there, and they're going to talk to me a little bit about some of the history of the place. So I don't know if it'll make it into the movie or anything, but it's just sort of background material. But yeah, so there's stuff that's happening here all the time. In fact, I was just talking to, who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking to one of the assistant director of technology where I work. He's into paranormal stuff, and I didn't know that, and he didn't know I was into it. So I was like, oh yeah, there's this and this and this. So I was telling him about it, and he was like, oh. So I know that I'm going to be able to talk to him about it. He told me that he's had a couple of experiences up here, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what they are. But yeah, like over when was it, in November, December, when all those drones or whatever they were being seen in New Jersey, there was stuff being seen up here. In fact, I saw something on my way to work one day that was kind of odd. I mean, my first thought was that it was a drone, but it was acting pretty strange, and it was big. It was much larger than any drone I've ever seen, and it was just acting weird. It was like, and it was silent, so it was very strange. But people were seeing stuff up here too. It's just that there's so much stuff that is seen here that a lot of times people won't just report it. They won't report it to like the newspaper. They won't report it to, like to MUFON or anything like that. But if somebody does like a presentation, like whenever I've done a presentation anywhere about anything, UFOs, Bigfoot, whatever, I'm just, afterwards, I'm just inundated by people who tell me about their experiences. So it's just sort of a feature of the landscape here.
Well, that leads to my follow-up question, which is, in the Hudson Valley, you mentioned a bunch of different phenomenon, but have you come to any current understanding of what's causing them? As an example, so there's lots of little different things. I'm not saying this is what you believe, but as an example, you're like, well, I think the UFOs are extraterrestrials. I think the little people are. Have you come to any conclusions?
Well,
what could be causing?
my I don't have a conclusion. My sense of things, and this is based not just on what happens here, but it's based on what others have observed in other places, is that a lot of these phenomena appear to piggyback on each other or be connected to each other in various ways. So I'm more interested in the intersections between the different reported phenomena rather than, thinking of them as absolutely distinct. And when you have a place here, like in the Hudson Valley, that seems to have kind of a little bit of everything. And like I said, it sort of goes in patterns. And this is one of the things that I found out. I did in my book, I do like a timeline. It's not an exhaustive timeline, but it goes back for the last 50 years, 50 or 60 years. And if you look at that timeline, at least from the reports that I was able to see, what you'll find is that, for example, when Bruce was experiencing his stuff, or the bulk of his stuff, in Kinderhook, which is to the north of me about an hour. Okay, it's in the Hudson Valley, but the Hudson Valley, the whole valley is almost 400 miles long.
Yeah.
So if you 300 and something miles long. So Kinderhook's about an hour north of me. So while that stuff was happening with him, at the very same time in Pine Bush, they were having kind of one of their first sort of flaps of UFO experiences. In fact, it was that set of UFO experiences that first interest, and this was like in the late 80s, it was in the late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. It was that kind of flap that actually first caught the attention of MUFON. And this was before the UFO flap of the Mid-Hudson Valley, the triangle shapes, the Winchester wing, as they called it. This was before then. This predated this by half a decade. And so you had the stuff going on in Kinderhook and this stuff going on in Pine Bush at the same time. But because there was no media, there was media about both of them, but because that media did not reach across to the whole valley, nobody knew that these things were happening at the same time. And then what happened is that the phenomenon shifted so that it went from Pine Bush, all of a sudden, about 3 years later, they start seeing all these UFOs that are described in Night Siege, that book that kind of made the Hudson Valley famous for UFO stuff. So all of that stuff was happening more to the east. So it was happening in Putnam County and in Westchester County, and then over to Connecticut, which is further south of me and around sort of since West Point is on the west side of the Hudson River, kind of from West Point to the south and then to the east. And while that was happening, the stuff in Kinderhook changed, and they started seeing stuff in Woodstock across the river and south. And it does that. It's like whatever it is, it sort of moves around the valley, and stuff will happen at the same time in different places, but it's never everything all at once in one place. And so what I did was I just created this timeline where you can kind of see that. You can kind of see the contours of this is happening here at the same time. This is happening here. This is happening here. I don't, John Keel noticed things like that. And he was like, I have no idea what it is. It's kind of like weather. It's one of those things where you'd have to have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of data points over a long period of time in order to determine, like we have figured out, climate models, in order to determine what the larger patterns are, whether these patterns in the valley are linked to other patterns of that kind of cycling in other parts of the world or in other parts of the country. Because his belief was if you could create those kinds of he didn't use this language, but if you could create those kinds of meta patterns or see them, then you might have an idea of a mechanism, maybe. I tend to think that it's a combination of a number of factors that feeds into the generation of these phenomena, and it includes things like, and if you look at other places that are window areas, which is what Keel would have called this area, there are some similarities. They are places that have troubled histories. They are places that have lots of water, especially subterranean water. They are places that have geomagnetic abnormalities. And we do have actually, and talk about this in the very first chapter of the book, New York has the most varied geology in the country. And it has to do with just the location of where and all the things that have happened here. But I think it's like every era and epoch or whatever of geologic history is exposed somewhere here in New York State. And in the valley itself, there are a number of geomagnetic abnormalities. And I mean, from a geological perspective, they're not abnormal. You know what I mean? It's like when you say or anomalies, when you say that, people go, ah, you know. From a geological standpoint, they're not anomalies, all right? In other words, these are normal variations of gravity, and it has to do with, you know, mineral concentrations and things like that. So from a geological perspective, these anomalies are normal, but when you have when you have a lot of them, plus a lot of water, plus a lot of troubled history, which we do have a lot of troubled history in the valley. It's very complex history. Somehow all of those things mixed together tend to create an environment in which these kinds of things are more likely. That's all that I know. I also, since you brought it up earlier, I also believe that, you know, I'm kind of an animist. I believe everything is alive. I believe that everything has a consciousness. Just because we can't detect it doesn't mean that it doesn't have one. And I tend to believe that there's lots going on around us that we don't see. I mean, you deal with insects a lot. You know that insects perceive all kinds of things that we don't, you know, ultraviolet light, they see light differently. They, you know what I mean? I mean, well, and birds do too. It's like, you know, I have chickens and chickens can see far many more colors than we can. They can see ultraviolet light. Their hearing is about 10 times better than ours. So it's no wonder they twitch all the time, because everything wants to eat them, right? So they're constantly, you know, they're like little raw nerves, you know, looking around. So there's lots of things that humans can't see, can't detect, you know, that are just there. And so I tend to think that probably a lot of what happens is that there's stuff going on all the time that we don't see. And then every now and then the conditions are right in us and in the environment for something to happen, for us to do something, you know. So when it comes to UFOs being intelligently, you know, poodled around, it could be all kinds of things. I don't think that all UFOs are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because, and they don't all look the same. Some are lights. Some seem to act kind of like living creatures. Some are clearly or appear to be mechanical in origin. Whether that's just how we can process what we're seeing or not, that I don't know. So, you know, I don't know the origin of some of these things, you know. But I don't necessarily think that everything's extra, you know, if a UFO is automatically extraterrestrial. I tend to think that the phenomenon has been here with humans for as long as we've been telling stories about them. So I think it has more to do with us in some way but it's not impossible, obviously, for them to have come from some other place, you know, some other, you know, planet or whatever. But, I don't think it's necessary, but it's not impossible. So, but to me, it's like I'm much more interested in what the effects on people are of these experiences than trying to figure out what's going on, because I figure that I figure that we'll eventually figure that out, or we'll be told it, or you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's fascinating that there is. I don't know if you've seen it, Jeffrey, yet. It's on Netflix. It's a very short series. It's called Encounters. It's got like 4 episodes, and it's kind of it's not so much about UFOs in the classic sense. It's about the impact of those experiences on people, and sort of the different conclusions that the people who have been so impacted, the conclusions that they're coming to. It's like it's basically about how these experiences have changed people's lives.
Yeah.
And how it sort of ruptures their understanding of what reality is. And I mean, any actual knowledge does that. I mean, finding out about the abilities of animals when I was a child ruptured my understanding of what I was being told about nature. And I came to find out that a lot of the creatures that in our culture that we're taught are the scariest and most disgusting creatures are among the most fascinating and intelligent. And I think we are scared of them, actually. So we try to put them into these, like evil categories, in fact, one of my favorite books was a book that was called Animals People Hate. And it was looking at snakes and wolves and spiders and bats and things like that. And I realized, God, these are like really cool. I mean, I think of animals as people. Okay. So these are really cool people,
Well, it's interesting.
I even think of insects as people, by the way.
Well, I was going to say it's interesting because a lot of people in the paranormal community, they kind of yearn for alien contact or non-human contact. And to me, I'm like, okay, it's not that hard. Just go out and have an encounter with a butterfly or any animal.
Right.
This is as close as an alien as you could get. So you try to do that before. But anyway, that leads me to another question I had, though, was...
I agree.
I saw a post. Somebody posted a picture of a big wolf spider. This is a great, which I love. But then somebody in the comments was like, someone's like, those wolf spiders are really intelligent. I feel like the person in the comments said, I feel like if you sit there and you just talk to the wolf spider and tell it to do something or ask it, like it's sentient enough to know what the hell you're just saying,
Well, whether or not it will care about what you're saying is something else entirely, But I mean, I do think that animals, and some people have, more of a affinity for some types of animals than others. But I mean, I love spiders. I mean, spiders and me are like buds, and I have had experiences with them where. I was usually it's helping to remove one from someone who's freaking out, and I've talked to them and I've gotten them to like go like in one direction or another, but I don't know that they really understand. Like, I mean, I know that they can hear me because they've got these little hairs on. They're like a raw nerve too. They're picking up every vibration in the air. I don't think they hear like we hear, but I do think that they don't need to, but I do think that they might be able to respond to intention. I mean, I do know of people who raise jumping spiders, breed and raise jumping spiders as pets. It's kind of become a thing. And they seem to have really interesting interactions with these spiders.
Interesting.
The spiders do come to understand that this human, this large thing, is taking care of them in certain ways, and there isn't. I mean, there's obviously caution, but there's not fear. Um, and I've seen video of them interacting with the spider in certain ways, which indicates some connection of some type. I mean, I can't get in a spider's head, so I wouldn't know. I mean, they have the cutest little face with all the eyes,
Yeah.
but I still, even with all that, even though I really love spiders, I'm still really glad that they're not the size of a car or even a medium-sized dog. That would be terrible.
Well, imagine if the sizes were reversed, so we were the size of spiders.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. Yeah. We would definitely understand ourselves as food products. But no, I agree. I mean, I think that, I think that there's a lot in the ocean, for example, that we have not encountered. I think the ocean is still really an unknown.
Well, I was gonna ask you, in the Hudson Valley, are you familiar with any encounters of close encounters, like some kind of being? I know you mentioned a lot of people see them running over here.
Oh, you mean yeah. Well, you have to remember Whitley Strieber. Do you know him?
Yeah.
All his visitor stuff is our Hudson Valley experiences.
Oh, okay.
They all occurred like literally 30 miles from me due west.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I mean, all of his visitor stuff. But yeah, the abductions have occurred here. Contacts have occurred here. I mean, I talk about that stuff in my book. But yeah, I mean, you get the full range of experiences that people report here. Full range.
Very cool.
Is today? What are people saying? Midsummer's Eve? Is it the equinox or something?
No, this is the solstice.
So is it officially tomorrow? This is just
it depends on where you're at. Here it was today, but in England it's tomorrow because they're like 5-6 hours ahead of us.
I just saw something on Facebook and I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, there's Stonehenge. It's live stuff. Live is going on at Stonehenge, I think.
Have you ever seen either of you Zardos, that movie with Sean Connery running around in the red thing?
I see the poster. That's it.
And it's on Amazon Prime now. You got to watch that one at some point in your life. Really, it's John Boorman, and he did Deliverance and Excalibur and The General with how am I forgetting that dude's name? Oh, Brendan Gleeson. That's right, Brendan Gleeson. I forgot his name for a second. The General. But it's crazy. Like, you got to see it and be on anything. But
is it good though? Is it crazy and good, or just crazy?
It's good. It's weird.
Okay.
So a giant head floating around giving people machine guns so they can have a revolution. And then Sean Connery running around in like I don't know what the hell it is, some kind of weird outfit that's too revealing. And I won't say more, but there's a lot of floating heads and just weird, like 70s kind of weird screwing and stuff, and just really weird. It's kind of like Barbarella or something, but weirder than that. But definitely you got to see it in your lifetime once. That's on Amazon. Zardos. I love Excalibur. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
I heard it. A lot of directors are influenced by it because it's got strong visuals. I haven't seen it, but I've also heard that
you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I heard the story is maybe not the best, but the visuals are what sells it. Is that true?
You got to see it at least in your lifetime, one time. You got to.
But does it have a good story, or is it just all visuals?
I think it does. Okay. I don't. It's not perfect, but it looks pretty damn good. It's probably the best King Arthur movie that exists to me.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I didn't see that new one by Guy Ritchie. I've been kind of afraid to watch it. Like, I haven't seen it. I didn't watch it. I will one year, but I hear it's not that great. But I'll watch it one year. But I heard he liked that movie Excalibur, but it's mostly just like surreal. And the guy that plays Merlin is amazing. I forget his name, but Patrick Stewart's in it. Liam Neeson, bunch of people. The villain.
Helen Mirren.
Yep, she's in it.
Nice.
Sexy dancing around. The music, soundtrack's good too. But she makes all the men crazy. I've seen it about 10 times or more. I guess one of those comfort movies.
Nice.
A comfort film. But let's see. Have you been keeping up with any of the new Skinwalker Ranch show stuff? I've missed some of the seasons. I don't even know what one. I know I've caught up except for one on each one, I think.
No, after the first season, I haven't even watched it. But I wonder, like, is that like, is it diluting the brand? Because it was such a big deal when the book came out, and now, like, is it doing the same thing I said I hated with people that like promote UFO stuff? Like, don't worry, next season, is it doing that, or are they actually making progress on the?
It's definitely a spook show. I mean, no matter which way you slice it, the government's involved and they're up to something with it. But it's like that kind of like, wait till next week, wait till next season. This season we're going to end with it. There's an alien base down there. Holy shit, we can't drill through it. See you next season. But, it's weird though. And beyond Skinwalker Ranch, basically they're trying to build a narrative, and I don't know if this narrative's true or if they're fictionalizing the narrative. I think some of it's true, that there's apparently a force here that doesn't like them messing with it. It's always messing with their equipment. It don't like anybody messing with it. They even got John Dover, that native dude. I think his name John Dover. That's the native police dude.
I've heard about that guy.
He was out there with skinwalkers doing stuff, and he seems pretty reputable. And some wind came and tried to mess them up, and he said, we got to go, because he said, we got to go if it gets too bad. And he pulled them out because it got too bad. But the narrative they seem to be building is that there's some kind of intelligence here that they're picking up with this signal that messes with all their technology, makes them sick. The Tic Tac UFO dudes went out there. They have like a UFO research vehicle. They went out there, got sick, had to leave, and just there's something there that doesn't like us, and they're building that narrative. And I mean, it's definitely weird because who's involved. There's former Bigelow scientist, that Travis guy who was hiding the fact that he used to be at the ranch with the Bigelow people, and he came out on an episode and everybody acted shocked, and then they were like surprisingly okay with it, of course. And a lot of the tribal police that coming out there, a lot of the government officials that run Utah in itself, the Andrew Bustamante, that's former CIA, that's on the Beyond Skinwalker Ranch show. And you got Chris Bledsoe with the X-Men shit summoning UFOs with Colonel John Alexander next to him. So, I mean, they're definitely up to some sleazery of spookery with this show. But I'm kind of behind on the last. I don't think I watched the last Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. But the narrative is that's all happening at these ranches.
Right.
And it's, they brought some lady out. I don't know if it was Bradshaw or one of the ranches that she was a kid at, and something happened. And they brought her back, and it lit up like it was Close Encounters, and it's talking to her through stuff, and it's definitely weird. It's not like, I mean, a lot of those shows are BS, and who knows, I think there's genuine phenomenon with these shows, but the government involvement is the creepiest part of those shows. Like, you're like, what are they up to? They're up to something with this shit. I don't trust it. So that's the whole effect of that show, pretty much. And then the Chris Bledsoe, I don't know if you saw that episode, but he can summon UFOs, and they did have the former CIA out there, and they did have Colonel John Alexander, and he's summoning these things in the sky. And he has that book, UFO of God, and I started it but didn't finish it. It's pretty interesting, where he helped the Pope not get assassinated, and there's all these weird stories, but it's on Amazon with like 5 stars, and all these Christians saying they're having similar encounters now, and Colonel John Alexander's like, you can be one of us, or some weird blurb. Like, it's some weird, creepy shit. Like, something's going on with it. I don't trust it. It's a psyop or something. But I don't know what it is, but I don't trust it.
Yeah, that Chris Bledsoe guy, I'm pretty sure he's being deceived. I mean, if there is a phenomenon talking to him, I don't think it's telling the truth. I don't think the phenomenon, rarely, I don't think it often ever tells the truth. I mean, sometimes it does. sometimes like the aerial school encounter in Zimbabwe, it talks about like don't overuse technology incorrectly, don't pollute the planet. That kind of rings true, but a lot of the other things that they tell us, a lot of times they're like the world's going to end in 5 years, stuff like that. It just seems to be BS. I don't know. So I feel
Yeah.
like Chris Bledsoe, if he's talking to something, I think it might be leading him on,
You
unfortunately.
got to think about that Project Beta book by Greg Bishop,
Right.
and with Paul Benowitz being kind of misled by the military and then him taking his own life. And I don't even know if it really was any alien stuff or it was just weird Black Ops stuff that he was
Right.
seeing. So, I mean, there's weirdness that you can't trust it. I get too paranoid. And I've had weird stuff happen before. Like I had this Joe Resnick. I don't even know if he's still alive. Some scientist that came on the show that was friends with like Meatloaf and Alice Cooper or something. He told me that basically the government was watching me. They knew how many times I flushed the toilet and I wasn't patriotic enough, and I should say God bless America after every show. And they know how many times I can flush the toilet. I mean, how many times I flushed the toilet. But the thing that was really weird during that time is my phone was being turned off because of financial crap. What's new with that? Nothing new with that. Uh, and I set it on the phone, and then suddenly a $2,000 credit appeared on my telephone
Hmm.
bill. And I got them to send me the check, and I spent it on land taxes and a shopping spree. This was like 10, 15 years ago. But somebody put that credit on my phone because they heard me say that, and it was no one I knew. If someone I knew did that, they would have told me. I didn't have any secret Santa friends that would have did that shit without letting me know about it for sure. They had no way. They didn't know my account information. And basically I think it was some kind of agency that put it on there to keep my phone on, to keep listening. They
Oh.
did, and I turned my phone off anyway. That was the same phone that lightning came through it during the Serge Kahali King Hawaiian Huna interview and shocked me. And he goes, "That's a sign of great power." And I laughed and I thought I was lucky I didn't die, is what I felt like. But lightning hit the ground and came through the line somehow, but it didn't kill me, but it shocked me
Dang.
during an interview. But so there's agencies. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And they're listening and they're out there. I don't know if they're as active as they are. They used to be, but they're there. Trumpelgooch probably closed them all down now. So at least we got that going and funneled the money to his sons, Uday and Kuday. But so what's up? What any video games interesting lately you've been doing?
Yeah, I've been playing. It came out like about 4 months ago. Monster Hunter Wilds came out. That's a lot of fun. Monster Hunter is like a really long series of video games. They're cooperative multiplayer games, so you team together with other players to take down a monster that's like dinosaur size.
Yeah.
But you can play single player too. But what's interesting about that game is that, I mean, I like it. So it's a different world, and the most advanced civilization is kind of like industrial age a little bit. It's like steampunkish,
Yeah, I'm
and
familiar with it, but not like crazy familiar with it, but I know of it. Yeah.
so that's the most advanced civilization. So they're pretty advanced. But what's interesting, it's like this is the most unrealistic thing about the game, even though you're fighting monsters, is that civilization, the most advanced one, they go around and they meet other civilizations which are not as advanced. And instead of subjugating them and kicking out of their land and enslaving them, they actually treat them with respect and work alongside with them. So it's nice. It's very pleasant. It's almost like an alternate history, like what could have been on our planet if we would have just respected it. And like I said, that's the most fantastical element of the whole game, is that this advanced civilization is treating everybody with respect. That's what makes it high fantasy. But I enjoy that aspect. It's all the struggles of the game come from preparing for this hunt of a monster, not really from any interpersonal conflict. So it's a fun game. And then I'm pretty sure that it's a Japanese studio. I'm pretty sure that the level designers, they must do extensive research and go to like real deserts, forests, mountains, rainforests, because as a biologist, like all the environments are incredibly detailed, but they're also like very true to life. Like they work as a natural environment. Some video games will, just put up some trees and some bushes and
Yeah.
it kind of passes the forest. But these guys really go out and they have small details, like small little lizards just crawling. There's some places where you just like you go into the map and you just hear this like a frightened croak of a frog, and suddenly this is flash and this frog just jumps in the water. That's like a little thing, but that's very true to life. That's kind of what you encounter in if you're actually exploring the wilderness. So that's the game that I've been playing, and then I might get into Doom Eternal. No, Doom: The Dark Ages.
Any Awakening? Oh, Doom. Okay,
Doom:
yeah,
The Dark
Doom.
Ages. That one just came
Yeah.
out.
I know that I haven't played that yet, but I've eyeballed it. I know there's a Dune Awakening game that's doing pretty good. I haven't played it, but I haven't bought it. But it's on the Steam that seemed to be doing pretty well. That everyone seems to be enjoying. That's Dune in a
Yeah.
Dune virtual world. But there's one called Monster Breeder on Steam that I need to get in. I would like to get into one year, but it reminds me of an old game I used to play called Mail Order Monsters on Commodore 64 or something. You had to make these little monsters, and you could add like mutations to them, and then fight them in a little gladiator pit and stuff like that. But that was a long time ago. But.
It was. I was trying to relate to some of my high school students, so we were having a fire drill. So a bunch of boys were just hanging out. So I went up to ask them. I was like, "Oh, what are you guys playing? What games are you playing?" And this one kid said he's playing Femboy Simulator, and I was like, "That's not a real game."
Oh God, it is.
Yeah,
It
this generation is cooked, as the young people say. This new generation. When I was your kid, I was playing Miss Pac-Man, not Femboy Simulator.
I would recommend a game on sale. I would only bought it because it's like $10 or something. It's Oregon Trail, and the native folk helped make it apparently.
Oh, okay.
From HarperCollins and whoever, and it's just Oregon Trail if you remember that. But it's got a lot more graphics this time around. But it's good. It's simple. I need simple. But Doom Dark Ages I'll play eventually, but some of that stuff just makes me want to throw up. But that looks pretty badass still. The gun stuff, where you're just running around shooting something every second.
Speaking of throwing up, it makes some people throw up, not me, but I want to bring out my PlayStation virtual reality headset. The only problem is that there's so many wires. Like you need to hook up your PlayStation and you hook up the headset. Then the wires go to a little box, and it's a big deal. And then you have to have a camera.
You
so
got
many
it
wires.
For the old PlayStation or the new one?
PlayStation 4. That's the one I have. But it actually, once you have it set up, it's really cool. Like I was playing Skyrim on it. Actually, I waited to play Skyrim. Skyrim came out so long ago, and there's been so many versions. Well, the first time I played Skyrim, which is this like medieval fantasy role-playing game, I played it in virtual reality, and I'm glad I waited because that's a legendary game. People love talking about it, but to be able to play the first time in virtual reality and you actually feel like you're there, you're looking around, the dragons are breathing down your neck. It's really cool. And it's like lots of little moments too. It'll be nighttime. So you'll go to a tavern and, it's all snowy outside. You go in the tavern and you're at the bar and you can hear the wind outside and there's like little candles everywhere. And you're just at the bar having a drink, talking to somebody. And in virtual reality, it really puts you there. And speaking of Doom 3, is apparently I have a copy of it, but Doom 3 is in virtual reality too. That's apparently a really good game.
I have the what is it, the Facebook special one, the last one that came out, and I've done it some, but not in a long time. But it is another realm, and it's creepy in a lot of ways when you go in there. But the biggest thing I deal with is it does make me feel like I'm going to hurl a lot. Like it makes me nauseous.
Yeah. Luckily, I doesn't do that. Yeah, the thing about the VR that it did to me. So I don't know when you were a kid, maybe you were similar, but when I was a kid, you get a new generation of games or some new thing, and you would feel this endorphin rush, adrenaline rush. You're like, wow, this is amazing. And after some point as adulthood, like that just didn't happen as much. I still enjoy the games, but I wouldn't have that rush of something new. But I did get it with VR. So when I started playing VR, it was like it was a kid again because it was really the next step in video games. So it was really immersive. So I'm waiting for the next thing to come out. I'm not sure if it's going to be better VR or some track pads where you're running or something. But that'll be cool.
One of the best games lately that sums up the kind that I enjoy is I don't know if Age of Mythology, they just redid that, Retold, and that's basically Age of Empires. Which, are you familiar with Age of Empires? The castle.
Is it an
It's
RTS?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's one called Age of Mythology, and it's it's from the same people that made Age of Empires, but you play different pantheons of gods. You
Hmm.
can be set and have a civilization and make crazy like scorpions and send them after people. It's like you build your cities and troops and farming and all that bullshit. But yeah, but it's a strategy.
Nice.
You can be Loki. You can summon Titans as Odin, and you build your whole like civilizations and have like it's good. It's definitely good.
What's
Sorry.
this? What system do you play that on?
You can play it on Steam, but it's also Xbox.
Okay.
It's on the Xbox. It's I know Xbox is bringing a lot of shit to PlayStation lately. Like they're
Hmm.
starting to a lot. What's up with that Switch 2? You getting it? Maybe I will one year if I can afford it, but you can't even find it if you wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, with a lot of the new video games, I do the strategy where it's like you wait 10 years and everything's cheaper. So it comes out,
That's
just
a
wait
good
10 years
strategy.
later, you get it on a huge
Yeah.
discount.
Especially now they have stuff comes out every time they fart, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, man, we got about 12 minutes or so. And I know you're tired. If you need to go and sleep or something, if you're about to pass out, you can do 12 more
Sure.
minutes. You need
Sure. No, I think I'll probably just tap out just so I could go rest some more. But
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, we always enjoy it. And it's always a comfort interview where I can just like go on automatic. It's like my friend Eric that comes on that thinks Trump's the Antichrist Mabus. It's just one of those shows when you're tired, you can just surrender and it'll flow wherever it goes. And we enjoy it. And thanks so much and get some rest, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Wham, for sharing your information as well.
Plug your thingy. Plug it. It's on there, but plug it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm getting pretty close. I almost have 1,000 subscribers. So I think I just need 11 subscribers and I'll get that 1,000 mark. And I am posting a lot of new shorts. But anyway, but yeah, please go to Biologist Wild Trees. So I think if you just go to Google, you just type in Biologist Wild Trees or go to YouTube, Biologist Wild Trees, you'll see my YouTube channel. My avatar is a dog man. And yeah, just subscribe and look at some of my older interviews, some of my shorts. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm already monetized, I'm partially monetized. And once I get 1,000, I think that'll be an inspiration to start making new content, maybe like weekly content on paranormal news or there's a lot of stuff I could do. Especially if I get this job that I've been applying for, then that'll give me some stability. And yeah, and I'm gonna try to negotiate. If I do get offered a job offer, wish me luck, but I'm gonna try to negotiate a 4-day, 10-hour work week. That would be the dream. That's the new dream. Working 4 days a week for 10 hours. And actually, are you familiar with this guy called Buddy or Psychic X? He's got a channel called Alien Protocols.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh. Well, if you look him up, he's really good. He's apparently like a really good remote viewer. He's based out of New York City, I think.
Mm.
And he's really good. Like he works with this other guy named Simeon Hine, who's a PhD sociologist. But Simeon Hine, he does a lot of good paranormal stuff. But anyway, Buddy is like a remote viewer, and I've reached out to him a few times. So one time years ago, I was really sick, and I just reached out to him, and he prays basically, and he did pray for me, and I don't know if it's the placebo effect or what, or it's all in my head. Doesn't matter. I did get better. I was chronically ill, and then I reached out for help, and I did get better. And so
Everything is in our heads. So, it's
yeah,
okay. It's okay.
it's okay.
I
I mean,
just, I just
if it works.
subscribed to you. I just subscribed to you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You should be maybe you're 890, lucky
Yeah,
890.
yeah, 909, yeah, something like that.
990, yeah.
990, yeah.
I'll make sure I am. I think I am already.
But yeah.
But we appreciate it, man. Take care and watch Zardos.
Okay.
If you need some Dom DeLuise, The End on Amazon as well. The End with Burt Reynolds is funny. My 70s recommendations. I wrote that movie, dude. He never wrote back, so hopefully he's okay if you talk to him. Poke him with a stick. The movie dude that does
Brad?
Yeah, I wrote him and never heard back.
Did you like email him
I emailed him.
Oh, okay.
He never answered, but I mean, if you talk to him, poke him with a stick.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
All right. Take
All
care,
right.
man.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
later. All righty. My gosh. Let's see what's coming up. Joseph Schmalk. That's 7 Years of Darkness, a comic. That's next week. No show on the 4th. Mark Eddy. That's his Ohio River book. BJ. Travis Gibb. That's a crazy comic about Christmas, weird in July, horror stories. Nisha and Norma, that's when you come back. And then Maxim Furrick, he's coming back. And then the Abe Scott Pelzer, that's a dude on Kickstarter that's doing some paranormal stuff, that's doing like a TV, a series where you like film it, like a little TV show with paranormal stuff. And apparently Nisha and Norma's book, they're coming on. Nisha and Norma Burton from Inner Traditions. I don't know if I sent you this book. I'll have to double check and get a PDF if I didn't. Navigating Liminal Realms. Psycho navigation skills for lucid dreaming, trance journeys, and altered states. And that's one of ours. I'll have to check about the PDF or whatever. I don't remember. I was trying to remember what they were, what their book was. So that sounds interesting. Talk to Mike Hacker. He's coming on in September. I'd have to re-ask him the book. They told me like a science book or something. Jerry Avalos. Right now, if you happen to remember with Bruce, or I can write him if you don't remember, I'm curious to what his technology's like with communicating, if he's still on that phone. He did a good interview, but there was maybe some tech stuff. I don't know if he's still using that phone for all that or whatever. If he is and still wants to do a show at some point, I wouldn't mind it, but I'm curious to what his tech situation, if it's gotten any better or not.
Are you talking about Bruce Hallenbeck?
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind.
I'll probably see him tomorrow, so I'll I'll ask him if what his. That's right. He had to use a phone or something last time.
It wasn't terrible, but it was a little, weird, but not too bad. But it still happened. It was still miraculous that it happened, but it was definitely, he has tech problems out there apparently. But I wouldn't mind having him on maybe in October for Hammer stuff and some of this other stuff.
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
And then if the guy that does the gym and ever wants to come on with you, that's fine. But that might be a good one if you're ever interested in that.
Well, I'll have to ask him, because the thing is that I think on some level he doesn't really want too much publicity for himself, because because even talking about it publicly sort of affects his business.
Yeah.
So he doesn't mind me talking about it because I keep his identity secret.
Yeah.
But I don't know that. I don't know if he'd want to come on or not. I can talk to him, but
I understand that. That's fine, but we can always talk about it just when a guest doesn't stay for an hour or whatever. That's what we usually do. I had a cool thing happen. I can't remember if I mentioned this, and it kind of made me feel good that someone remembered me. Sometimes you feel like people don't know who you are, or you just got forgot or whatever, and then the little thing pops up and says, "Oh, well, at least somebody remembers me." A guy that works for Micah Hanks, L.W. Marshall, the Grellian Report. He's writing a Grellian Report book from Micah Hanks. Heard an interview of mine where I referenced superheroes and UFOs, and it really touched him, and he was wanting me on his show, which I may do sometime. But at the particular time he asked me, I was going through all that financial crap and still kind of am. So I was like, well, let me get back to you. But that was kind of cool that someone remembered that from, like, I don't even know. There was a bunch of shows. What's that lady, Dr. Rita Lewis or something I did with Andy. And there was one with Jerry Avalos. So I talked about superheroes and UFOs. It's good to be remembered sometimes when you're turning to dust.
Yeah.
We've been doing this crap for a long time. I'm even surprised how long that I've been involved with it at times. I think it's like 18 years. I don't even know anymore. It's something like that. Early 20s is when I started reading stuff, but I'm talking about like radio or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I don't. It's been what I think I joined you in like 2012 or 2013, something like that. So
Uh,
it's been like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years. Sorry, I'm tired.
everybody is.
Oh, it's almost 10 o'clock here, so I'm
Yeah.
tired.
But definitely we're old poops. Been doing this old poopery for a long time.
Yeah.
And Micah used to come on a long time ago, but he was on that KGRA when all that happened, and I haven't spoke to him and all that weirdness. I ain't getting into it, but it was bad about the pedo and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a while ago, too.
Yeah. I could probably write him and he would be okay and friendly. He always was, but he came on a lot back in the day, like 8 times or something. It's just been a while. But all right, everybody. You're listening to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Everybody have a good weekend. Thanks, Wham, and thanks to Wild Trees. Good night, everybody.
Good night.